This show is brought to you by DF Studios Limited. Whether you're a business owner or entrepreneur, DF Studios will guide and assist you on the best ways to promote your brand digitally, in addition to creating visitor and customer generating content like blogs, social media posts, videos, and even podcasts like this one you're listening to right now. Visit dfstudiosltd.com or hit up info@dfstudiosltd.com for more info. All right, so much to my disappointment, I did not see these two films, Damien Chazelle's Babylon, and I did not see M3GAN. These were two shows that I really wanted to see, right? Babylon in particular, I wanted to see, before year's end, even though I know it came out theatrically in the States for Christmas. But I know we had to wait a while, but for some weird reasons, it wasn't showing close by me, but it was showing in the West and it was showing in the South. So you got the chance to see Ricardo. Yeah. And even though I was just really curious to see, if, the insane, if you will, killer doll vibe of, tongue-in-cheek vibe of M3GAN was going to live up to the hype. I really wanted to see it, but unfortunately just didn't get around to do it so, because just life got in the way. But yeah, Ricardo, you saw both, so I guess I'll just rock back and hear your thoughts on both. So let's start off with Babylon.
Sure.
What was Babylon about and how was it? And in particular, right, I just had to mention too, because I have a feeling the reason why it wasn't shown nationwide, I would say, is because it was a commercial flop, right? So
Yep.
you could tell me, or at least you could tell me if you understood, or at least by watching this, why it flopped, right, or why it didn't work. But anyway, take it away. Let's start off with Babylon.
Well, I think it flopped because the marketing, it had none. Like, I don't think it had any market. Like, the only reason I know this movie existed was because Damien Chazelle was doing a period drama. Like, I keep hearing that for film scuttlebutt. But like,
Oh, okay. So you didn't see the trailer. All right.
I
There
don't
was,
think I saw a
this
trailer.
red band trailer that was that get people notice, like, oh my God, what is this? Wow. But
Right.
that was like months ago, and then that was it, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I had no working like, but I don't remember seeing anything like that, or I don't think it was there. So like whatever. Anyway, so what this is? So Babylon, aka old timey boogie nights. That's what it effectively is. It's just a behind the scenes Hollywood story, Hollywood scuttlebutt stuff about the nature of Hollywood back in the 20s. This was the roaring 20s. It was right in the transition period for when quote unquote talkies start coming in, and it follows I forget the actor's name, but basically his character's name is Manny Torres. He's this Hispanic guy who comes through, and he have to he basically want to get into the whole behind the scenes stuff, and he meets Nellie Leroy, who is played by Margot Robbie. And yeah, let's learn the behind the scenes of, well, look how weird and trashy Hollywood was back in the days, and it wasn't any different. And they make it work for what it is. And yeah, to basically describe this movie have the exact opposite problem that Amsterdam had, right? Amsterdam.
Oh wow! For some reason I thought I have a feeling was going to reference Amsterdam in your
Right.
review now.
Amsterdam was written and directed by the same person. I thought the script was okay, right? Could have been better, but okay. And the direction was completely inept. This have the exact opposite problem. The writing, pretty weak, pretty kind of incompetent, to be honest. I thought in terms of like where the story flowing and what it is. But the direction is solid. It's Damien Chazelle. That's the guy. He's the director, man, right? He's an incredibly talented director, but I thought he really shouldn't have write this. They should have got a better script writer, to be honest. Like I was pretty underwhelmed with the with the writing and the writing of the script, the flowing of the story, why it works, how these characters are built up. None of it works. And yeah, well, the movie that it shares the one common undergoing, I kind of feeling a little bad for Margot Robbie. She's real trying a thing, right? She's playing.
Yeah.
She's kind of playing like a past version of herself, like what she would have been back then. Right? She played that person, and it is something I had to be careful of. Like I understand where it was going for and where it was working, but yeah, it relies on the visuals, and it does the visuals well. And I get the feeling that they just decide to do this just to say that they do a debauch, just to get the excuse to do real debauchery for some reason. Like that's the only reason that this is made. Because like it don't have any other sell other than, well, look at this extravagant parties, look at these extravagant parties. But like everything else around it, not really engaging or enjoying for what it was. The ending is okay. Like I like the ending of what it does. Like they do a big basically it's like a big homage to Hollywood in a sense. Like that's what it feels like, to be honest. That everything else is, but yeah, everything else for me falls kind of flat.
But wait, man. What about Brad Pitt?
He was, in my opinion, non-entity. I did not like him. I
Wow.
was so underwhelmed with him in this. Like he's a big part of the story. But I thought he was like, why you always spend money to hire he in this, to be honest. Like it's like I was so underwhelmed with him, to be honest. It was kind of a shame. Really unfortunate.
As you bring up that, no, now I'm wondering if this was a bad year for Brad Pitt too. Well, maybe not, right?
Well,
But
not really
because you said the same
because
thing with Bullet Train, like,
you
yeah,
know
why
what?
was he in this?
Yeah, no, here's the thing. I dug Bullet Train, It's just I just felt they shouldn't have hired him. Like, why is he like he again? The thing on Brad Pitt is that, sorry to say, he's one of these stars who kind of recognize that they're kind of too big for the material in their own way, but they need the money. I don't know. Does he need the money? I don't think so, right? But yeah, I didn't hate him in Bullet Train or anything like that. It's just he was like he doesn't need to be there. Like that's how I felt about that. But whatever. Yeah, it is what they try a thing, they make it work for what it is, like I was enjoying it for what it was and why it was being told in this way and why it was flowing in this way. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I could see this kind of working and making some sense of what it is, but I just couldn't get into it. And in the ending, it was super predictable. Again, if you're watching Boogie Nights, you know what this is and what it is, and it just it's just a big homage to what the world was and it built into modern cinema and why it is. Like the ending is good. Like that last edit, what they do with it, like there's a great montage about cinema in the ending. And like, all right, I see where you're trying to go for what it is. But yeah, this kind of fell flat for me. Not as bad as Amsterdam. It's still pretty good. But it just rely on this debauchery stuff. Like that is a big sell. Like, oh well, look, somebody getting peed on for some reason. And like, all right, well, we get it. But it's kind of like when back in old timey Hollywood, like they used to make a lot of Bible movies. But in the Bible movies, they have a big debauchery party, and it's like, well, those people back in the past live sinfully, so that's why we have this big orgy going on. And to me, they just get an excuse. That's how it feels. Like Damien Chazelle, they just get an excuse because you wanted to shoot an orgy. Like that's it. That's
Right.
and it didn't have anything going for it. Like Margot Robbie is okay, but again, nothing. It's simple, like just straightforward. Like she really trying to play this past version of herself, and it's supposed to be like a kind of commentary on sexualized women and whatnot, and that whole thing. Like I kind of get what they're going for, but yeah, here's the problem: Margot Robbie is still very heavily sexualized. It's not as obnoxious as what they did with Blonde, but it's the same kind of problem, right?
Right. Right.
So whatever. I didn't hate this. I can't say I really hated it or anything like that. Not as bad as Amsterdam, but I have a very similar problem of yeah, you could have punched this up a little better and have it flow and make it work a little better. So that's about it. I don't hate it, but I really felt they should have done more with this as it is.
Well, one question before you get to Rita, right? Is it self-indulgent?
Well, a little
It's
bit.
kind of coming off a little bit like it is.
A little bit, because the idea is, oh well, is we had to talk about this thing with Hollywood. Like Hollywood really love this stuff. Like let's be clear about that, right? They really love this stuff. So, but we don't really do that good of a job of addressing that conceit on its own anyway. So that's why I wasn't like a fan, in that sense. So yeah, but whatever. If I could see somebody liking it and making it work for what it is, so it's mostly fine, in my humble opinion. So yeah, moving on from that. That's about it.
Yeah, I have a sneaky suspicion this might get an Oscar nom somewhere, but maybe not as much. Maybe something in the technical range, I guess.
Right.
Not direction.
Exactly.
Not
So here's the
direction.
thing.
Yeah.
For direction, he might. Like I could
Okay. Oh, well, all right. Then no.
He might, because I could see some people saying that they might enjoy this maybe because there's this one scene involving them interrupting Margot Robbie in a role. So this is when they was doing talkies. So they faking, they're playing how a talkie would, them having to adapt a sound in theater, and that all of that technical problems, because like since they have to do song for the first time, there's a whole technical conceit of if somebody do this, or if they open a door, or if they do this and make song in the background there, that could fuck up a take and blah blah blah. And that scene is done really well. It's actually the highlight of the movie, in my humble opinion. But that's about it. Like it's just these replicating old Hollywood and how it felt. Oh, what's the name of that movie that kind of did this, boy? Remember that movie with that fellow who was Han Solo? It was a Coen Brothers film. It had that same
Oh gosh, the
with
Hail Caesar, Hail Caesar.
Hail Caesar. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, it had that same really replicating how it was and why it was the way it was kind of thing. Like that layer, nested Hollywood system set thing. And I could see some people appreciating that for what it is. That's about it. Everything else, I didn't care for. Yeah, everything else don't really work all that well or for what it is. But yeah, I dug it. I mean, I kind of dug it for what they're trying to go for. But yeah, falls flat. Sorry to say, it, didn't care for it. Moving on.
All right. Well, we're rating. What will you give it?
Yeah, 6 out of 10. Again, closer to 5. I can't in good conscience say I loved it. Like, I know what he was going for. Again, Damien Chazelle, he's a dude that I really want to like more. Because look, Whiplash was a masterpiece. I really like the movie on
First Man.
First Man, right? Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
He did some good shit. I was not a fan of what do you call it? This movie, the La La Land. Was not a fan of it.
Yeah, he did that. Yeah. I really appreciate it, but I'm not over the moon with it. That's me.
Right, exactly. But yeah, I get where he was going for. It does kind of work for what it's trying to go for. But yeah, ultimately, I was underwhelmed with this, and it's a real shame because I really felt they could have sit down and make it work. It's one of those things that you could have just sit down and make work. But we didn't really get that. Yeah, moving on. 6 out of 10.
All right, so let's move from Babylon now to M3GAN, right? Which had easily one of the most talked about trailers of 2022.
Yeah. Well,
but yeah, I really wanted to see it, folks. But again, time just got in the way. Maybe I will actually. But hopefully, Ricardo, you could tell me if it worth it or not.
It is not.
Oh man.
Yeah, here's the problem. Here's the problem. So this was slightly better than expected because I was expecting this to be complete garbage. I was thinking it just relying on its memeness and it sneaks on a plane all over again. And then, well, the release month, January, January is almost always trash, right?
Yeah, but I think all that is intentional. Eh? Like in retrospect, I think all that is intentional. Like you're supposed to go in with expectations really low, and then you'll just go out of its way to surprise us, say, no, it's actually not bad,
Right.
And you come out kind of liking it, but
and it still did well because, from what I understand, it very relies on if it wasn't for that it wouldn't have done as well if it wasn't for the marketing campaign. It had a really good marketing campaign. I can't be mad. They had a bunch of the M3GAN girls dancing in football. In some football game or something like that.
Okay.
So
I know there was one where you see some M3GAN girls on stage doing the dance, but I didn't know they were doing this shit at football games too. Like, wow.
Yeah. So there's all over the place and trying to do the thing. I'm like, all right, well, I can pull from that or take away from it for what they're trying to do. It's fine, right? But why this largely falls flat for me is it just they just kind of half-assed it in terms of like the script. Like, you're doing the AI stuff, and I'll say this is what the Chucky movie should have been. Remember they did a Chucky remake a few years ago?
All right, with McGill, Aubrey Plaza was in it, I think.
Right. This is what that should have been. It felt like that, but they improve on it, and but it's still tired and predictable. Beats, listen, super predictable beats. You're watching it and thinking, all right, they're gonna do this, they're gonna do this, you're gonna do this, or anything that you don't guess, it was still within your the bingo box now, right? You're just watching it and it's like, all right, they foreshadow this, so they're gonna bring this back. And yeah, that's exactly what happened. Or like they talk about this thing that they're showing off in the beginning, they're gonna come back, and it did. I think one of the big problems with this is that, look, you can't be doing this kind of stuff in a post Black Mirror world and half-assing it like this. Because in terms of the world building, they could have done so much more with this. I really didn't think they was gonna have M3GAN taking the world by storm or anything like that, because they try to play it like if it really feel like something from the 90s with modern technology. Like everything beat for beat, it felt like, what's the name of that old Macaulay Culkin movie?
Not The Good Son, no.
The Good Son, right? Thank you.
But The Good Son, yeah.
Yeah, where he's a psycho. It really felt like that out actually. Like it's just how M3GAN is shot and how she's like a psycho, but they explain why she's a psycho because she's like a robot and she does this for lack of a better term, a Procrustean kind of logic to everything. So like, oh well, this thing make my friend unhappy, so I have to fuck them up now. Like that's the whole movie, and it's super predictable beat-wise. There is one good kill in this, one good kill that I liked. One good death.
Oh, one good kill you get out of that. Jeez.
That I enjoyed. That I thought was funny because it played out a way I didn't expect. I like, they're just gonna do this, but how it ends and how this character dies is pretty funny. But that's about it. Everything else was just like all like the stuff from the trailer. Even the stuff in the trailer didn't connect to the scene particularly well. Like that whole scene where she was dancing. that was just kind of arbitrary. Like that didn't really connect to the thing. I was like, all right, well,
Oh
that was
shit.
kind of
Okay.
weird. Like whatever. And then yeah, the big ending was like typical slasher movie ending and how it plays out. And again, they could have do so much more with it. Like I kind of wanted like again Monday morning quarterbacking. I kind of wanted the girl to take Megan's side and probably like fuck up she aunt or something like that. That's what I thought it was. Like yeah, but that's the story. The story is that this girl, her parents died in a car accident. She is adopted by her aunt, and she kind of don't really like the aunt. Like the aunt is this career woman who doesn't expect to have to like adopt this girl. She had a thing, but she ended up building M3GAN because that was part of her little research, and they tried to push M3GAN out as a doll. So they use her niece as the experiment, and she and M3GAN are bond. But every time she's gonna get emotionally upset a lot, and M3GAN is read that, and then M3GAN is just kind of sort out anything that she does upset her. So it have a neighbor with a dog. Yeah, she fuck up the dog and the neighbor, right? And then it had a boy who was traveling on a little camping trip, fuck up the boy too, and so on and so forth. And then M3GAN like AI started to go all right, and again typical AI shit, right? Is oh well, yeah, I have to. What's the fastest way? It's the old joke about AI, the typical movie AI logic. What's the fastest way to lose 8 pounds? With after chop off your head, right? That is the
Right.
logic, right? Is that nonsense, right? Yeah, that is what it is, and it don't do anything beyond that. And I really thought they could have get clever with this, make it smarter, make it more intelligent, and carry the conceits further and so on. So just a
Right.
bunch of missed opportunities. And
Well, question, right? In terms of that, right? So the idea I was getting with this show is that it's supposed to be one of those like movies, like that's why I wanted to see theatrically, where people kind of know what to expect. So when he kills and thing happen, you laugh, or
yeah, no, look,
like it's supposed to be like I don't want to say crowd pleaser, but it's
it's a
kind of
lie.
designed that it's supposed right. There's a line. You're
It's a lie.
supposed to laugh at the absurdity, right? So
Right.
is it like that or no?
Yeah, no, it's a line. Like you're going with a line. Don't waste your time trying to like bust your brain over it and say, oh well, I don't want it to be like this and I don't want it to do like that. No, it's a line. Go in expecting a line. If it like I didn't go in drunk or anything like that, but I imagine, I could get a little drunk with this and make it work. Like that's how I feel about it. Like
That
I
was
didn't love
actually
it.
one of my goals. I was actually planning to just drink a little something before I watch it. To be
Yeah,
honest.
I feel I'd probably do that in might work maybe, right? Like if I had a few beers and I go in with some friends, I'd probably enjoy this a lot more because it is kind of goofy, for it is. They're goofy. They're making some. They're just doing goofball shit, and that's about it. I couldn't really like say or in any good conscience, wait boy, like this would be so smart or it's so like it is what it is, and it's
Yeah, but
nothing.
but from what I get from what it is you're telling me is that it's silly and it knows that, but at the same
Right.
time it could have been and it could still be, or I should say could have been in retrospect
Well,
still smarter, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Even
So
though it's playing the whole look at this silly idea, right? You could still be smart with
right.
it too.
Yeah,
But
no,
I feel
they
they
could have.
didn't achieve that, to be
Right,
honest.
they could have winked at the camera a little more. I felt that's my own main problem with a lot of it, to be honest. Right, like I felt, if anything, it either be more serious and think it out, or make it funnier, and it was neither. Like it was just in this kind of middle, kind of uncanny, well, valley of the claim, right? Just this kind of middle, worst of both worlds of that, where it's not funny and winking at the camera. Neither is it serious or taking its ideas in some smart or interesting places. Neither, right? Just really bog standard stuff, and it's really a shame. They could have really done more with a lot of that, and that's how I just felt about it. It's like, yeah, they could have just do more with it. That's
All right. Well, what would you rate Megan?
yeah, that's a flat 5 out of 10.
Uh,
I actually just don't recommend go seeing it, even though I don't hate it, and it's like like, wait, this is complete dog shit or anything like that. But like, it's like, yeah, you could have just sit down with this and make a better effort, and it just in many ways it fails for that in that sense because it just feels completely half-assed now in that sense. Like, you could have done more with this. Sorry, like make an effort now. However, moving on. It just you'll forget it. That's all I'll say. You will forget it.
Yeah, and that's kind of like the irony of it all, like you kind of go in knowing that it will be forgettable in the long run, but because it's January, I think that's the reason why people want to see it and why people talk about it so much because it's January, the year now
Yeah.
start, and you want to see something, right? So that I would confess that's why I want to see. It's like, oh well, all right, well they have nothing else showing. I mean, I could have watched Babylon, but again, it wasn't showing by me. So all right, let's watch M3GAN. Let's see what it is. But yeah, if I saw it honestly, a good thing for the thank you for at least telling me that it's not worth it. Yeah, I imagine I would have probably forgotten it way sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a shame how much it fell flat for me because it's like, yeah, they could have do this much smarter. They could have make it weirder and creepier, or make it in such a way where, like one big thing I really thought they would have gone into is like, oh, it's like yeah, like you could have a scene with like some creepy older dude wanted to buy the M3GAN dolls, for whatever reasons, and all of them kind of thing. Like, they could have get into like the world building of it, and they just do that, just a straight up dumb slasher fic. I don't know.
Yeah,
They could have done
you
more.
know what would have been even better though. This last point, make it R-rated. Like,
All
understand
of that.
PG-13, drama audiences, yada yada, blah blah blah. But I mean, Child's Play was always R. So
Yeah.
or like let me be real here, right? Okay, like you make it PG-13, right? We all know that M3GAN is I don't want to say a rip-off off, but it is clearly inspired by Child's Play, right?
Right.
So keep it R. Like, you making it PG-13 don't make it different. It's still inspired by Child's Play. So you might as well be honest with yourself. Make it R. And I honestly think that even though I haven't seen it, it probably would have played a lot better if it was R. But
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, that's basically how I feel about it. They could have do more. They didn't do more. Moving on.
Yeah, sad. Yes.